Do you ever just put something on you always know you can just sink right into? It doesn't have to be ambient, but just more something that feels like you're a teenager again listening to music rather than being a professional musician analysing it.
People that are fans of your earlier albums are just fans of earlier parts of their life.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's that's so true.
But then they're like, the new stuff doesn't hit as hard. Because no one died.
Exactly, no one died, man.
No one's died, no one's broken up with you. You have to force yourself to have brand new experiences. As you get older, there's always a reference point to the first time you did something, the first time you went somewhere, the first time you tried something. I remember before, I used to be, actively look for it, like the way DJs dig for new stuff.
If I'm only eating spaghetti bolognese every day, but I like spaghetti bolognese, there's no chance of me liking other foods because it's sufficing, I'm enjoying it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I like how we go in all directions there. Hello. And welcome to another episode of Are We Live podcast with me, Jordan.
Me, Alpha.
Me, Barnett. I feel like it should go that way. That should be the order from
clockwise. Okay.
All right, clockwise.
So in these episodes, one of us chooses a song, and then we ask a question. The song is sort of a launch pad into a discussion. It's my week in the hot seat this week.
Hot seats are cool. Alpha,
Alpha started.
I like hot seat. And
the song is here it is. The song is called "Pour Another" by Acclaim. So that was "Pour Another Glass" by Acclaim, and it's a song I always come back to when the world just gets a bit busy and crazy. And the reason I play this song is because I wanted to ask you guys, because I'll just give you a bit of backstory. As a listener of music, I'm extremely analytical all the time. I can't turn off that side of my brain. When I hear any new song, I'm like, nice drum sound, nice vocals, not cool lyrics, great beat. And I wondered if you guys have any go-to songs where you can actually listen to the music as a fan. Do you ever just put something on you always know you can just sink right into? It doesn't have to be ambient, but just more something that feels like you're a teenager again listening to music rather than being a professional musician analysing it. I don't know if you guys have that same problem I do.
I think I find that more so with maybe rap music, potentially, just because I suppose I can do, or I'm looking and analysing. I suppose everyone does whatever their specialities will probably analyse something quite specifically. But I think, I find songs that like my mum played in the house potentially when I was younger, that I have no I can't really work out. It's just a
feels
feeling.
Good, yeah.
It just feels like nostalgic, feels like homely and safe. I find. I'm trying to think of any of mine that Jasmine Sullivan, Lion, Tigers and Bears. That's a big one for me because I think it's just like when I heard that song for the first time, I was quite young in a difficult situation. So I think that was a very calming song for me. So I kind of used it as a safety thing.
Yeah,
I think maybe
you'd chuck it on.
Yeah, maybe it's a safety thing. Maybe it's like songs that make you feel safe because you know how they say about like people with anxiety one of the signs you might having like anxiety might be like you want to watch like the same TV show or listen to the same song because you're gonna know what's gonna happen.
Oh right.
So it feels safe to listen to it or watch it.
Yeah.
Maybe it might be a similar thing with that kind of thing where I don't have to analyse it because I'm utilising this just because I want to let it wash over me. I don't know. Potentially. I don't know. Alf?
Yeah, I think with me, new music is always, I have that same thing Jordan has where I want to know, first of all, if I don't know what's going on, I want to know what's going on. But if I do know what's going on, I think about what's going on. I'm taking in the whole song for what it is. But again, the thing with me is, if I like a song, I'll listen to it over and over again. And it's impossible. Say you can listen to a song once and kind of figure out what's going on. I'll be like, cool, that's such a great sort of drum sound and the way they've gone to there. After the 9th, 10th listen in a row of that song, you're just listening and being there, and you're just the song's just playing, and you might, you know, you will exhaust every aspect. You might hear things you never heard before, think of things you never heard, but at some point the thinking bit's gonna run out, and you're just gonna be in that song basically. And that's kind of how I absorb music that I like, or albums that I like. That's why it's a good thing to listen to albums on journeys or songs on journeys. Like I said, I do in an episode before. I can listen to one song for a week if I really like the song. But the thing with an album, like on a journey, is at some point you drift because you have to get off the train and you have to do. I'm not that great. I'm not that great at multitasking. So I say I'm multitasking, but it looks like I'm multitasking, but what I'm really doing is switching from one thing then switching to the other really quickly. So I might be taking like a step, getting my Oyster card out to tap it or whatever, but I'm doing that might be a split second, but I've missed that of the music. Do you know what I mean? So the music's, I've just been taking in the music for what it is. That's why journeys are quite good for that stuff. Again, listening to music at home, although I do, I'm kind of doing tasks, but I do just listen to music, like sit down and have music, like things like when you have a vinyl player.
But you're sitting on your phone or something, or you're actually sitting there and just
nothing else.
I know, I have just, but then that's rare, right? Not a lot of people in 2023 are doing that unless it's quite a conscious meditation sort of approach to do it.
Or study or something,
Put on vinyl. Even back in the day when people used to put on vinyl, they used to put it on and it's on in their house and they're doing stuff. That's really
Well, it depends though.
Yeah.
Because some people were like, they'll treat it like television, which is like, I remember like speaking to my friend's dad, and they would like buy like a Led Zeppelin album, and they would all like sit around and listen to it together at the same time on a vinyl player. Yeah. So it was more of an event.
It's the entertainment and the event. Yeah, and I do that, like in terms of like, I take in music like that. But eventually, if I like it, I'm going to listen to it again, right?
Yeah.
Like, so if I like it, the next time I listen to it, the next 3 times, the next 4 times or whatever I listen to it, I'm going to eventually, it's just going to be part of me, the song. It's just going to be what I like. Maybe because, do you listen to the same things again much? Like, do you do that?
Well, I sort of rinse it like a lot in those first 2 weeks. But I still feel like I don't get that same... No.
You're trying to understand it.
No, I not really, but it's not that same feeling of like those songs you heard when you're growing up.
Oh, it's also nostalgia.
It's more that, it's more like, it's not. Yeah, I don't know. It's not from here. Even if an artist I love in the last 5 years, if I'm having these moments where I just like overloaded with stimulus, I just want to listen to something that's easy. It's always an old song, even though I've got all these new songs I love.
You know what I think that might be? Because a lot of people relate songs to periods of time in their life, to points in their life. There must be a point in your life that you're fond of, or like you go back to, that makes you feel comfortable. A point in your life where you feel, because everything we're doing now, it's hard to, you have to force yourself to have brand new experiences. As you get older, there's always a reference point to the first time you did something, or the first time you went, or the first time you tried something. You're always going to be referencing, I remember when I was 7, or when I was blah, blah. There's nothing, not really anything that can tie that new experience to this new song. There's not really that many chances for that. Unless you keep exploring, keep trying out different things. I reckon for me, maybe it might be touring and stuff like that, listening to stuff, being in new places, new countries. There'll be like music that is like, I remember being in Berlin and I was listening to this album a few months ago. So this is like, depending on how I felt. If I hated the time in Berlin, I might hate the album. Do you know what I mean? But if I really like the album, like for me, I'm kind of like trying to enjoy where I am right now, like wherever I am basically.
It's true.
So I'm ending up absorbing a lot of new music in a good way, where I just go back to albums that I may have discovered a few weeks ago, but I like it as if it's like, you know...
What, older?
Yeah. I guess I don't really have that many childhood...
musical...
I used to make music. Like, I don't... In my house, Mum was playing shitty gospel music that I didn't... That I just was not a fan. Do you know what I mean? I kind of have an aversion to the gospel, even though, like, that stuff has obviously seeped into me, my playing and stuff like that. I don't... Like, I can't be like, okay, cool. But I remember them days, and those days were amazing. And They weren't really. It's not. That's not how I was making my own music but then it's only when I got older, maybe 18, 19, 20, like people would say they people that are fans of your earlier albums are just fans of earlier parts of their life.
Yeah,
basically.
It's that's so true.
Which is like such a difficult thing to compete with, right? You can't beat nostalgia.
You can't
never compete. But also you can't compete with your older.
If someone says this song got me through that breakup,
or death, what can I say? I'm gonna die again, man. Exactly.
But then they're like, the new stuff doesn't hit as hard because no one died.
Exactly. No one's died, man.
No one's died. No one's broken up with you. No one's
exactly
triggered that.
Yeah, but you know, like when you're 18 to 24, you're also so changing chemistry wise. Like you just love things more, and you know.
Yeah. Also, there's this time maybe as well. Like you have more.
You're a bit more free.
Yeah, like the focus is more so on like. I mean, I find like. Would you guys say that you're less of a fan of artists? It's more difficult to become a fan of artists with new music because of that as well. Like, do you find it difficult to kind of be like? I suppose your time is so selective, especially if you're listening on the road, for example, or you're listening wherever. Like, I only have a specific amount of time to listen to certain things, so I find that like me being a fan of artists is more difficult because I haven't got time to scope and.
For me, I agree with you that there's a tiny bit of time, but because of that, it's easier for me to be a fan of someone because it's like I'm not discovering new albums. I just have this to listen to. You become a fan of that person just because you are listening to them over and over again. So
do you feel like we're lacking with... Cause I remember like... Do you remember LimeWire days, Alpha?
Yeah.
I mean, Jordan, you're also old like us. LimeWire days where you would download... Do you remember the album rips? So I remember like... Album rips were like... You couldn't download the album individual tracks. They would just come as one chunk of an album, and that really helped me listen to albums because I only had this option to like listen to the whole album.
I was
right? So like I remember that with like a College Dropout, Kanye West. I had that as an entire. Obviously, these are groundbreaking albums, but my point is that like that really helped me.
I mean, the whole YouTube full album thing is an updated version of the same thing, where people will just literally they'll be at home and then
chuck it on.
YouTube is their vinyl player. And they're playing something that just has that full album in brackets, and it just plays, and that's how people discover and fall in love with stuff. It's what happened to my thing, innit? Like it was that sort of thing where you have no choice but to listen to it from start to finish, and that can make you a fan of things. I think I definitely don't discover as many new artists as I used to. I remember before I used to be, you know, actively look for it, like the way DJs dig for new stuff. Like, who is on this? What have they done? Who is on that? What have they done? Do you know what I mean? It's just constant discovery and amassing this sort of library of music. Whereas now it's like, I'd come upon an album like by chance and I'll be like, oh, this is the album, I like this right now. You're just scooping it like out of nowhere. And, and that's just sort of, I guess that's how life is. That's why everyone's worried about dropping music and being a drop in the ocean. Because most people are approaching music like that. Unless it's discovered for you in like a playlist.
Yeah.
You ain't really going... Because the playlists are bloody good, mate.
That's how they work, yeah. The algorithm is
they know what you want.
So spot on. But it's
know.
a little bit like an echo chamber, isn't it? It's like, well, how do I know? It's like if I'm only eating spaghetti bolognese every day, but I like spaghetti bolognese, there's no chance of me liking other foods because I'm just... It's sufficing, I'm enjoying it. And I suppose that's kind of similar thing with music. It's like, I don't even have a chance to not like something. It's never in front of me.
But has your taste changed over the years?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's definitely down to like opportunity of other people putting me onto things and like having other people that are interested in different facets and like also like my intrigue of just like listening to something again and again and again and trying to understand it or trying to feel it, and especially like I think like rap music especially because I suppose it's what I do. Like the kids. Like listening to like these young rappers that are like 18, 17 with like so much auto-tune and like figuring out why, like what is that? And like then not forcing me liking it, me then having an affinity with it because I figured out that it's not about the lyrics potentially, it's about the vibe and the feeling, which then helps me to kind of like, I don't have to make that kind of music, I don't need to be a part of that music, but I know it's fresh and I know it's meaningful and I know it's like DIY and it's like urgent. And I think there's like sometimes with the older you get, the music doesn't feel as urgent because it's like well thought out and
Yeah.
calculated.
Like,
Well, you might be trapped in a time as well. Like if you speak to, there'll be decades or like generations where if you speak to an older generation and ask them what the best music is, they'll go to music that they listened to when they were 18 to 24, and they'll say that's the best. Do you know what I mean? So it's like if you can get out of that time capsule, like I don't listen to many new rappers of a certain strand, like the auto-tune one. I know that I don't like that sort of stuff, but that doesn't, like I listen to people that age that make other types of music that I like.
Of course,
do you know what I mean?
exactly.
So it's not really like the discovery thing can be sort of all ages.
What does being a fan look like now for you guys? So being a fan of an artist is what, like listening to their music constantly. What does it look like? Why? What would say I'm a fan of this person? Like, what
I think
does that mean?
because I'm a fan of a couple of like new artists as in the last 5 years. I'll always still go to their show. I'll like and comment on their posts. I'll put their songs in my playlist. But yeah, no, it doesn't happen much. But there might be a handful of those sort of people. But when you're younger, you sort of like anything, you know, like when I was 20, anyone I discovered that was in the Soul Aquarians or something like that, I'm like, their whole back catalogue, I'm listening to everyone's whole back catalogue. I love every single song. And like, every single Radiohead song like is amazing, and you know, D'Angelo can't do no wrong. And,
Do you reckon you have the time to dedicate the time you got, because when you're younger you have the time to dedicate the fandom. Whereas for now, I'd say I'm fans of people, but I'm not an active fan. Like the most level of fan I'd be is if I see you're in London,
Might go see you.
I'll come to a show
And buy a vinyl.
I buy a vinyl. Like I see and appreciate what you're doing, but I don't always know what you're doing. Do you know what I mean?
And that's interesting, I suppose, for then on the flip of the artist side, is that like sometimes we take things so personal with fans, and we go, why are you not? And it's like, nah, like everyone's like, it's not personal. No one's actively saying they don't want to listen to you potentially. Like it might just be like they might not. I remember us speaking about this, is that like even with like social media, likes and that kind of stuff, pretty much maybe 1/4 of the people that have seen your post or have seen your thing, I might interact with it, because some people just don't want to interact with stuff like that, and it's not personal. It doesn't mean that they hate you, it doesn't mean that they don't like, it doesn't mean that you're falling off. It just means that like the same way that we treat content and how we absorb things, we just haven't got time to like everybody's thing or go on everybody's story, or because life is life. Do you know what I'm saying? So sometimes maybe taking the pressure off of yourself as a creative and being like, nah, it's not personal.
Yeah, these likes don't translate to stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, I'm probably not following so many people I'm a fan of.
100.
I'm not following them. I don't know what they're doing, but I'd come to their show and buy their vinyl. What's more? What do you want? Do you want me to give you a like and a comment on your video so for your optics, or do you want me to buy your physical product when it comes out? Do you know what I mean? Exactly. You'd rather me come to your show and buy your product. I'll do that. I see that is being a fan. The other thing is like following a hype train, which I just don't have the capacity to do it with pretty much anyone, to be honest. Like I'm not intensely following what anyone's doing. So,
it's so true. I mean, it's funny, when I announced a show recently, I got, let's say, 3,000 likes on the post, but the venue is bigger than 3,000 likes, and the venue sold out. And I'm thinking, because I was like, oh, that's good. That's a good like engagement. I might sell 500 tickets on this first month or whatever. And it sold out. And I was thinking, there is a world outside, that isn't engaging. And like you say this a lot, when you're at a gig, you're not one of those people like whistling. And I don't even clap at gigs sometimes. I'm just like, wow. I clap after a song, but I'm not like, like singing. So it's true. Maybe it's just everyone's different, and I think maybe me as a consumer of new music, I'm just that sort of person, but maybe the world isn't like that. Maybe it's just
I used to think about that when it comes to things like critical acclaim, or like when it comes to there's artists out here that have been out here for a long time and they may not get the engagement they used to get anymore, like, or they may be like, they might drop something and get 110 likes on the internet or whatever, but then sell out like a massive sort of show, because people already knew sort of then like I used to see critical acclaim as, people are just saying they like the album, but the engagement ain't there though. The likes ain't there, the comments ain't. That's not important. You know what I mean? Someone like a Floating Points, a Fortet, those people will sell out venues, but not necessarily get the social media engagement. Like, so but that's the problem with PR. It's all about how we perceive someone's doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do we count that? Do we count it by your likes? And then what would you always say? Barney always says bums in seats is kind of the only way to see.
Yeah.
But
even with that, but
even with that,
because now with TikTok, I mean, we spoke about Steve Lacy in a previous episode of the podcast. I know we've got to wrap up.
Yeah.
But Steve Lacy from the internet, do you know what I'm saying, the band, and like done loads of production, did his thing, had his fan base, his core fan base, and then like then TikTok blew up one of his songs, right?
Yeah.
But only blew up 30 seconds part of it. So at shows, these shows were selling out like that, but when it came to the shows, people would only sing the 30-second song that they heard from TikTok, right? And so like now it's like,
that's crazy.
It's he was so upset because it's like you're taking away from the people that are the fans that want to come and know my catalogue with these other people, which is also like obviously ups and downs. It's regardless, but I'm saying even with bums and seats though, even with bums and seats, it's not
that's
might not
the
be
thing. So we're just constantly finding the next thing, or what's the true value? How can you tell that you're doing well? But anyway, that's
well, yeah. I mean, I like how we go in all directions there. The question was, what's your go-to song? If you have an analytical mind, what do you go back to listen to?
Was the question.
And that, it's all about engagement and algorithm. So if you can like, comment, and subscribe. Below. But yeah, no, let us know what your go-to song is in the comments to build up sort of our engagement algorithm. Yeah. See you next time. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace.